Mergem acum la Bruxelles, acolo unde secretarul general al NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, președintele Consiliului European, Charles Michel, și președinta Comisiei Europene, Ursula von der Leyen, semnează a treia declarație de cooperare între NATO și Uniunea Europeană. Urmărim declarațiile și revenim.
The three of us met together here at the NATO headquarters. President Putin wanted to take Ukraine in a few days and to divide us. On both counts, he has clearly failed. Russian troops have been pushed back by the brave forces, and NATO and the European Union have stood united in support of Ukraine. The regime in Moscow wants a different Europe. It wants to control its neighbors, and it sees democracy and freedom as a threat. This will have long-lasting consequences for our security. So we must continue to strengthen the vital transatlantic bond in NATO. We must continue to strengthen the partnership between NATO and the European Union, and we must further strengthen our support to Ukraine. In the world of growing strategic competition, authoritarian actors challenge our interests, values and democratic principles through military, but also political, economic and technological means. China's growing assertiveness and policies present challenges that we need to address. Persistent conflict and instability in our neighbourhood undermine our security and provide fertile ground for both strategic competitors and terrorist groups. Our declaration makes clear that NATO remains the foundation of our collective defence and remains essential for Euro-Atlantic security. It also recognises the value of a more capable European defence that contributes positively to our security and is complementary to and interoperable with NATO. Today's declaration builds on the previous two from 2016 and 2018. Based on these declarations, we have developed concrete actions and we have reached unprecedented progress in our cooperation. We are determined to take the partnership between NATO and the European Union to the next level, to address in particular the growing geostrategic competition, resilience issues and the protection of critical infrastructures, as well as emerging and disruptive technologies, space, the security implications of climate change, foreign interference and information manipulation. Our partnership will become even more important once Finland and Sweden become full NATO members. With their accession, NATO will be protecting 96% of the citizens in the European Union and a higher share of its territory than ever before. We encourage the fullest possible involvement of the NATO allies that are not members of the EU in its initiatives. And we encourage the fullest possible involvement of EU members that are not part of the alliance in its initiatives. So dear Ursula, dear Michel, dear Charles, thank you for your personal commitment and your leadership in taking our cooperation forward. So then I pass the floor to you, President Michel.
Thank you, dear Ursula, dear Jens, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Strong allies make strong alliances. The European Union and NATO have evolved and grown in parallel over the years. Our organizations are close, our histories are intertwined. 21 of the 27 EU member states are members of NATO, and 23 if we count Sweden and Finland. And EU member states represent the majority of NATO countries. The EU and NATO, we share the same common values of freedom and democracy, and we share the same goal: peace, freedom and prosperity for our people. Russia's war against Ukraine has had two unintended consequences. It has strengthened both our organizations, the EU and NATO, and it has brought us closer together. First, we are stronger. NATO has reinforced its presence in Eastern Europe, and it will have 2 new members, Sweden and Finland. Putin wanted less NATO, but he has achieved the opposite. He will have more NATO, and he will have more EU. We are also getting stronger. We are speeding up the enlargement process with the Western Balkans, and we took the historic decision to grant candidate status to Ukraine and Moldova and the European perspective to Georgia. And we are reinforcing our Europeans. For the first time in history, we provided little military equipment to Ukraine through our European Peace Facility just a few hours after the start of the war. So far, we have reached more than 3 billion euros in addition to the massive military contributions of our member states. Since day one, we have stood by the people of Ukraine with strong military, financial, diplomatic and political support. Together, the EU and its member states have contributed nearly 50 billion euros. And second, Russia's war against Ukraine has brought the EU and NATO closer together. In fact, we are closer today than ever. Both our organizations have recently raised our ambition by upgrading our strategies for our future security, the EU strategic compass and NATO strategic concepts. Our organizations are complementary. NATO is and remains the foundation of collective defense and essential to Euro-Atlantic security, and the EU is determined to contribute more effectively to global and transatlantic security.
Președintele Consiliului European continuă declarațiile la Bruxelles. L-am ascultat mai devreme și pe Jens Stoltenberg, secretarul general al NATO, care a vorbit mai ales de cooperarea pe care NATO și Uniunea Europeană au avut-o încă din primele ore ale începutului războiului din Ucraina. Spunea Jens Stoltenberg că președintele Putin a vrut să cucerească Ucraina, dar a eșuat. În continuare, Uniunea Europeană și NATO își doresc să ducă cooperarea la un alt nivel, iar puterea lor va crește în momentul în care și Suedia, dar și Finlanda vor face parte din NATO.